Hey everyone, welcome to the Bad Talk Show. My name is Stephen Funches. Thank you so much for joining me once again for another episode. We have some hot topics to talk about, some current events, some pop culture, all to talk about in this episode because that's what we do. So let's get started. This past week, there have been a couple of things in the news I want to talk about. The first thing is this blogger dad. His name is Doyle Richards, and he is the founder of daddydoingwork.com. And he recently posted a picture to his blog of himself doing his daughter's hair. I'm not sure if you've seen it or not. It's him in the mirror, doing his daughter's hair, and he has his infant child over his shoulders in a baby carrier while he's doing his daughter's hair. The reason he posted this picture was to prove to his wife that he actually could do his daughter's hair because he said she wouldn't believe him. That's the word. But apparently, there was, and he didn't expect the picture to go viral. It went viral, and it got a lot of positive feedback, but also got a ton of negative feedback. Unfortunately, not a ton, but enough to make it to the news media. So some of the negative feedback included that people were saying is that the kids don't look like him, and that they are probably not his, and that where did he rent those kids from? Those are just some of the negative comments that people made. And what I have to say about that is it's very sad that we live in a society that has such a negative portrayal of fathers that when a picture of a father doing something good, it's still looked at in a negative way, or people try and find something negative to say about it. We have to break through this negative barrier of fathers and this negative stereotype of fathers, especially black fathers. And unfortunately, the portrayal is still not where, it's still negative. There are fathers doing great things out there. There are fathers that are doing the right thing, that are involved, and that are doing what's right. Those fathers should not pay for what the bad fathers aren't doing. So the people that have something to say about this man doing his daughter's hair, there was nothing wrong with that picture. I thought it was really cool that he actually, was doing his kid's hair and, decided to post the pictures, because a lot of guys probably wouldn't even think to post something like that because it's, you don't even think about it, but it was cool that he thought about it just to show to his wife that he could do it. So, I'm going to tip my hat off to him because I think it was really cool that he did that. And the people that were making negative comments, again, we can't, allow the negative fathers to affect the fathers doing good things. He's a married man, those are his kids. Nothing wrong with that picture. So I hope that it didn't get him down too much. Hopefully it didn't, but again, we have to change the mindset of people because we'll never move forward as a society if we keep focusing on the negative, even out of a positive situation, finding something negative to talk about. So yeah, my hat's off to that man, Doyle Richards. Awesome job, man. Keep it up. Second thing I want to talk about is a young lady who's 33 years old. Her name is Marissa Alexander. This story is a few months old. It actually might even be, close to a year old at this point. She was sentenced originally she was sentenced to 20 years in Florida in prison because she shot warning shots, fired warning shots, gunshots at her house. Didn't shoot anybody, but it was in Florida, and Florida is where the incident with George Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin happened. And she, however, was sentenced for 20 years for shooting warning shots to her estranged husband. Didn't shoot him, but due to a technicality, the sentencing was dismissed, and there has to be a retrial. So the reason why I'm bringing this up now is because she was actually allowed to remain home on a monitor, home on monitor, or home while she's being monitored for this time off. So my view on this is that, she didn't shoot anyone. I don't know what the situation was between her and her husband, but she didn't shoot anyone. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was killed. But she's going to be put in jail for 20 years. But in the same state in Florida where George Zimmerman killed a teenager because he was defending himself, allegedly, George Zimmerman is a free man. And since that time that George Zimmerman has been released or been cleared of all charges from killing Trayvon Martin, he's had numerous run-ins with the law. And this man is still running the streets. So again, these laws that exist, not just in Florida, but other states as well, need to be thoroughly reviewed, and I believe they need to be changed, because you have a woman that didn't kill anybody. She shot warning shots, didn't hurt anybody, didn't shoot anybody, but she was sentenced to 20 years. And only because of a technicality is she getting a retrial. Had there been no technicality, she'd be serving her sentence right now in prison. Yet, someone who actually did kill someone, claiming self-defense, is running the streets and, again, has had numerous run-ins with the law. So clearly there's an issue, or there are problems with the laws in these states, especially in Florida. So I'm hoping that lawmakers and politicians take a close look at the laws across the states and figure out, what's working, what's not, what's really an appropriate law for, gun control, what's really an appropriate law for just anything that, gives people, that, protects people at the same time, does not allow BS to happen, for lack of a better term, such as, the case that happened with Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin. Again, these laws need to be thoroughly looked at and thoroughly reviewed, and hopefully they'll be changed, because clearly there's something wrong. So the next thing I want to talk about, we're going to actually move to lighter subjects. We're going to talk about a little bit of entertainment. So the first thing that I want to discuss is Miss Bobbi Kristina Brown. Yes, Miss Bobbi Kristina. She is the daughter of Whitney Houston, and the late great Whitney Houston, and Bobbi Brown. She's now 20 years old, and she actually is now married to her longtime boyfriend, Nick Gordon. Nick is 24, she's 20. For those that don't know the history, and I'm sure most of us do, Nick was taken in by Whitney Houston. She never officially adopted him, but she sort of informally adopted him. He was 12 years old when he was adopted into the family, and at that age, when you're 12 years old, he was 12 and Bobbi Kristina was 8 at the time, and at that age, you're developing as who you are as a young man. You're starting to go into a teenager, and a lot of people are saying that, oh, it's gross, how can she marry her brother? That's her brother. But let's get real, people. That's not her brother per se. Maybe he was adopted into the family, but that doesn't mean that the relationship that they ever had was a brother and sisterly relationship. They could have been friends all this time, and they developed feelings over the years. That doesn't necessarily make it wrong, because they technically have only been involved in each other's lives, or been brother and sister, quote unquote, for 11 or 12 years. So it doesn't mean they ever looked at each other as brother and sister. Whitney could have looked at him as a son, but it doesn't mean that Bobbi Kristina and Nick looked at each other as siblings. I mean, the issue that I have is that they are, to me, way too young to be getting married. 20 years old and 24 years old, that's just way too young to commit yourself to somebody for the rest of your life, because you have so much to learn about yourself. You have so much to develop about yourself, and I hope that their marriage lasts. I always wish people well who do get married. However, at that age, you still don't know who you are. I mean, Bobbi Kristina has been through a lot. I'm sure Nick Gordon has been through a lot, and they're still learning themselves, and they've been a part of each other's lives for, practically their entire, their preteens up until now. So I really think that they need time to themselves to learn themselves and figure out who they are, because 10, 15 years from now, they may learn new things about themselves, or over the years may learn new things about themselves, and that's when, things may start to fracture, and then, things may turn ugly. So anytime, and not just them, but anytime somebody wants to get married very young, I strongly, think that people should wait on getting married. I mean, I always, like I said, want people to be happy if they want to get married. However, really make sure this is something that you're ready to do, because marriage is a huge commitment. In other words, you're spending your life with this person, and most of the time, when you do get married that young, you still don't know who you are. So again, I wish them well, and I hope things work out. But if Bobbi Kristina sees this, or if Nick sees this, you guys seem really cool and happy, but just really make sure, I hope that you take your time and listen to each other, and that kind of stuff. So next thing I want to talk about is Mr. Chris Brown. As you all know, he recently had an alleged run-in with somebody here in the DC area, in DC actually proper, and he was given a plea deal which he rejected. So because obviously if you didn't do something, that you're not going to plead guilty to it if you didn't do it. So, I understand that he has some run-ins in the past or incidents in the past. However, that does not mean that he's guilty now. So I hope that he gets a fair trial, or whatever the next steps are. I'm not sure what the steps are once you reject a plea deal. But I know that he has to come back into DC to meet with a judge or something like that in the next few months, or maybe in the next few weeks. I'm not sure exactly when. That's what I have for now. I did want to touch base on a couple other things. As you all know, I'm fairly new to this talk show thing. I'm really looking forward to developing this and see where it goes and seeing what happens and seeing where it takes me. This is something I've been wanting to do for a while. So with that being said, I'm looking for a co-host. Essentially I would love someone to be next to me. We can have a good dialogue. We can talk about these topics, pop culture, current events, politics, anything. Sky's the limit. We can talk about whatever. So if you are interested in possibly being a co-host on the Back Talk Show and you live in the DC area, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is thebacktalkshow@gmail.com. Once again, thebacktalkshow, all one word, @gmail.com. Feel free to reach out to me, and we can meet, talk over tea or coffee, and talk about our ideas, and then go from there. So again, this is all brand new to me. I'm looking for a co-host. I'm looking to do big things and see where this journey takes me. So that's all I have this week. Thank you so much. If you've listened through the whole episode and made it this far, thank you for listening. And feel free to give me your feedback, send me comments, suggestions, talk show ideas, or any ideas that you may have that you'd like to see on the show. I'll be more than happy to look at them and take them into consideration. And I look forward to hearing your comments and hopefully having a co-host alongside of me eventually. And so you all have a great day, and be safe, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, peace. See ya.